Welcome back to Money Talks. I'm Glenn Wiggle from the Financial Guys, and you're here in studio today with New York State Assemblyman Dave DiPietro. Dave, right before the commercial break, we were just talking about or getting into minimum wage. University of Washington in Seattle. Seattle tried this minimum wage about a year ago. Disastrous results. So the University of Washington's report came out and shows that more people lost their job, and the net effect, as we all expected, was a loss of revenue and a loss of jobs and opportunities. New York State, of course, was one of the first to go down this road and imposed a $15 minimum wage in New York City. And outside of New York City, we're tiering up. I think you said it was $9.70 now, and then tiering up over the next several years.
$12.50, right? To
$12.50. You're a small business owner,
yes,
as well as being a politician. What kind of impact is this having? Well, number one, I don't think I've seen any studies come out of New York State yet as far as the pluses or minuses of what's going on with the new minimum wage. But in your experience, what are you seeing out there? And as a business owner, what are you experiencing?
First off, as a business owner, it's crushing me because I have a labor-intensive business, so I get crushed. So when the minimum wage goes up, which we don't pay anybody minimum wage, but it creeped up with this new tier that now I have to pay everybody wants more. And as you do that, now I don't have the luxury of just raising my prices. When I did that last time, about 6 months ago, I lost business. And as in January, when that goes up again, I will lose more business because I'm going to have to try and keep up. Eventually, it's in New York State, in the last so many years, we've lost, and since 2000, we've lost over 60% of the dry cleaners just from the regulations New York State's put, the burdens they put on. Wow. And I mean, they're all disappearing. And now with this minimum wage, they're predicting another 40% of what's left is going to go under in the next 2 years. Wow. It's crazy. And what I see in my district, I've got a heavy agricultural district. I know 3 or 4 farms right now in my district that are leaving. They're just selling everything and getting out. They cannot afford to do business in New York State. In Long Island, where they're going to $15 minimum wage, what they're finding is, by New York, people down there in the Long Island area, the New York City area, they're going across to Pennsylvania and other areas to buy because they still have lower minimum wage and they're producing a lot cheaper and selling cheaper. So the New York State agriculture and farmers, they can't compete. Right. So they're getting washed away. And so number of businesses, they're going out and they're just going to continue to go out. And it's crazy. They're killing the market in New York State. They're killing it.
Well, I mean, if you are a business owner that owns multiple businesses, a business owner that's got multiple locations, or a labor-intensive business like yours, right? That's got to be, and you guys, I think something you said was really critical, and that is, even though you don't pay people minimum wage, it drives everybody up, right? And so if you're paying somebody, if your manager's making 12 and your laborer is making, well, now it'd have to be making $9.70, right? Or whatever. Then when that goes to $10.50, your $12 an hour or $14 an hour manager, that has to go up. And then of course that's got to be reflected in obviously the price of the service or the price of the goods. And this is not rocket science, and yet somehow our liberal politicians in this state and places like Washington State and D.C. and others that have raised the minimum wage, it doesn't make sense. Seattle especially has got a white-hot job market. There's no need to have a minimum wage at all there, and yet they did it to the loss of jobs.
Well, let's go back to, I think they know exactly what they're doing. This is New York's, you got to remember, New York State is extremely left, extremely liberal. You've got a communist running New York City. You've got communists running other areas of the state. They're doing it on purpose because they know when you jack up the wages artificially and your prices and your goods can't support it, then you drive businesses out, and that is their goal. Let's be honest. They're not here to make a better environment for the business person. They're here to drive out. We influxed about almost 1 million in the last 10 years permanent welfare, and those are votes. Those are votes. And that's what they want. So when you get rid of business, you bring in welfare in New York State. Those are votes, and that's what they want. It's very frustrating to see the lack of business acumen that goes in the Capitol.
All right, we're going to take one more quick break. We're going to come back and wrap this up. We're going to talk about Tesla in the upcoming segment. Stay tuned. Don't miss out.